Creator of the Year Awards is back and we got the chance to catch up with some of the winners. Now, let's talk to Daphne from Airing Your Dirty Laundry, who won the Emerging Creator of the Year Awards 2024. All right, hi Daphne, thank you so much for joining us. How are you today?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me.
That's
It's very cool
okay.
to talk to you guys.
Of course. So, of course, you were a category winner for our Creator of the Year Awards, but I'd like to start at the beginning of your journey of when you started making content. What spurred that for you?
Honestly, it was sort of like a joke to begin with. Like my husband, I was just kind of like watching TikToks and I was like, I could go viral. And he's like, yeah, sure. And I was like, no, I could. I bet you it's really easy. And so I just started like telling stories about my life and it just like caught on. I didn't even know that I was going to have a show interviewing musicians at this point. I was teaching primary school and I was just messing around on TikTok. To start off with, it was a complete just like funny, silly thing. And then it's just over the years turned into something that I never knew was possible, like never even was on my radar, you know what I mean?
Was sharing stories always something that was within you, whether that be in the medium of filming it or writing, or are you a musician yourself?
I'm not a musician myself, but I have always been really fascinated with musicians' stories. And it was never like, it wasn't so much that I wanted to share them, but being with my husband, who is a musician, I've been with him for 11 years and seen him go from like playing a room to no one to playing 10,000 cap venues. And so to kind of see that and to see that like in Australia, we've got a lot of amazing people working within the music media landscape, but there's not enough places for musicians to come and talk and really like share their stories. We have such amazing music here and we don't really get recognized across the world because we're so far away from everywhere else. To be able to deliver something like that for us here in our country and to take pride in the arts that we deliver here is just something that is really important to me. So yeah.
So when did that transition happen, when you were just having fun on TikTok to then making that first video of airing your dirty laundry?
I was a primary school teacher and I didn't love my job and I knew that I wanted to do something. I'd grown like around, I think it was like 150,000 followers on TikTok at this point. And I was thinking, you know, there's something I could do with that. And clearly like I was good at talking to the camera or at least being on camera. And so I had this idea for airing your dirty laundry, but I'd never interviewed anybody before in my life. So I was very much imposter syndrome, like, oh yeah, it'll never happen. And then I made a TikTok being like, I've got this idea, kind of throwing it out into the universe, thinking if anybody sees it, you know, would they want to make it with me? And then at the ARIAs in 2023, I met my producer, Imogen, and she's incredible. And she came up to me and was like, I saw your video. I'd really love to make this show with you. And I didn't believe her because we'd both had like quite a few wines by this point. So I was like, yeah, sure. But the next morning I woke up and she'd text me and she was like, no, I'm dead serious. I want to make this with you. And so that was in November. And by February, we had our first episode out with the Ryons. So this is like the first time in my life I've actually worked within like a team. Like we, you know, not a big team, we're two people still, but a team nonetheless. And it's the happiest I've ever been. It gives me more purpose than I've ever had. It's just I found what I meant to be doing. And if I hadn't met her, no way would it be. I wouldn't have ever jumped.
So would you say just building up a team is a great investment? Because I know some solo creators are very scared of maybe passing on extra responsibilities to people. But did it pay off in terms of you focusing on just the creative or focusing on the operations of things? How did it help you?
We are like yin and yang. So she is very good at everything I suck at. She just gets things that I don't understand. And it leaves me to do sort of all the fun creative stuff. And that's not to say that she's not part of that. I bounce every idea I have off of her for that. But all the kind of back end things that I'm not really across, she just can handle. And it really helps to bounce my ideas off somebody, because when you're just like in a fishbowl by yourself and you're just, you know, it's hard to know if an idea is good or bad. And so I recommend if anybody's out there wanting to create, like if you can find somebody, it's not easy, but if you can find somebody to work with that you trust, do it, because it also makes a bad day not so bad when somebody else is going through it with you.
Did you fear that first episode? Or the first few episodes, or even just physically being there with other bands? Like, how did you manage that?
Oh my God, I still get nervous.
That's good, right? That's good.
I get really nervous because I really want to do a good job. And like my whole thing is that I want artists to come in and really understand that our show isn't about just asking where'd you get your band name from or whatever. It's really, I sit down and I do so much research before an episode. My like rule of thumb is that I can't ask a question I can Google the answer to. And so because of that, I put a lot of pressure on myself to make sure that the artist really feels like seen and heard from our interviews. And I'm getting better at not being nervous. And the thing is, if you're nervous, it only shows that you care.
Definitely.
You know, if you're not nervous, then you probably don't care enough. It's good to be nervous and it's good to have adrenaline. Like I'm getting to my favorite part to be the interview itself, but my favorite part is still the research. I love researching and I love learning. Then putting that into the interview is really cool, but it's scary.
Yeah, for sure. So going back to airing your dirty laundry, can you just talk a little bit about the concept behind that and why you chose specifically to name it that way and then have it in a laundromat?
Yeah, it was massively inspired by Chicken Shop Date. I think Amelia de Moldenberg is like a god. I think she's so amazing at what she does. Obviously, we're not the exact same sort of content. Hers is very like comedic, I suppose, and it's incredible. But there's already an Amelia that exists, so I don't need to be her because she's already there. But I loved the idea of having it like how she's done it in a chicken shop, and so I thought like what kind of other places could we film? And so I thought I don't know what came first, if it was the name or if it was the laundromat. I can't remember. But
the chicken or the egg.
Yeah, exactly. But that's where the inspiration came from. It was all her. So if she ever comes to Australia, I would really like for her to come into the laundromat and chat to me.
So reflection back on your first interview to now, how has your interview techniques evolved?
I'm starting to trust myself a lot more. So at the start, I had probably, I think around 25 to 30 questions written down, and I would just follow those questions. I wouldn't stray. I would stray a bit, like if things came to my mind, but I would make sure I asked every single question that I'd written down.
Right.
Just recently for the Jessica Malboy and G Flip episode, it was the first time I have really trusted myself and done all the research and written down questions, but then didn't have them near me during the interview, so I knew them in my head. I think I'm doing that because I want it to be more conversational rather than more as structured as it was. And there's nothing wrong with what I was doing because I'm learning. I'm like massively learning along the way. But I'm really just starting to trust myself and be like, okay, like people are responding to the show, so I must be doing something right. It's like any job, really. The more you do it, the better you get. Yeah, my techniques I go to the library. I don't even work at home. I go and work up at the library and do all my research because if I'm here, I'm just scourging into the fridge and not like I'm procrastinating. Then kind of try and break it up into themes and things that I want to talk about, and also what the artist is promoting, whether it be like a tour or a release or whatever. Try and make sure I touch on that. But then also, just allowing the conversation to go in a way that I may not have ever expected it. We might start out talking about the album, but then we end up talking about llamas on a farm that their grandfather owned in, 1940. I get like, honestly, like a rush when I'm speaking to somebody and they go, how did you know that? I'm like,
I stalked you. So let's talk about Creator of the Year. What made you want to enter?
I didn't do it. Imi did it.
Oh, there we go. The brains. Yeah.
She's the brain. I think she was on Instagram and she was just scrolling through stories, and you guys must have had a advertisement for it pop up. And so she just entered us. She was like, why not? Never know. And then we got an email saying we'd been shortlisted, and then we got an email saying we'd been accepted, and then we got an email saying we'd won. And it was just like, yeah, she's I just have to thank her. I've got the award sitting over there. It's staring at me right now. Yeah.
So let's talk about how winning Creator of the Year Awards 2024, if it changed your life, your workflow, your confidence, how did it impact your business?
I don't know if I would be still like able to be doing the show because of the money that we won. We take a lot of pride in making sure that our content is the highest quality it could possibly be, and we don't skimp on anything. And because we're not in like a classic podcast studio, we're actually in a laundromat. We have to hire crew, we have to hire sound, and that's expensive. And so because of that, we also can't put out episodes as frequently as other podcasts. But the money that we won literally has funded our whole year this year. Like I don't know what we would be doing without it. And it's been able to then kind of give us a safety net to then go after other things and not have to worry too much about how we're going to output episodes. So we're looking at throwing an event for South by Southwest. We just actually had our first live pop-up show in the laundromat with Midnight Till Morning. And that was epic. We had like 200 people in the laundromat. So we were able to put our mind towards these sorts of goals of actually bringing this podcast into real life and giving back to community and having fans in the laundromat and really actually making it like these were our bucket list goals that we're now achieving. And I know that we wouldn't have been able to do that if we hadn't have had the safety net of the money from the award to like pursue other goals and dreams.
Oh, that's amazing to hear. Congratulations. Yeah. That's so cool. That's amazing.
Yeah.
If somebody was like, nah, I don't know if I'd be able to enter the Creator of the Year awards, or like, what would your advice be for creators emerging, established, whoever, to enter the awards?
Just do it. Like, what have you got to lose? Honestly, like, it's like it changed. It literally has changed our entire year. And honestly, probably like the course of this show and the course of like, not to be cliche, but like our lives, because we are able to do all these new things that we wouldn't have been able to do without. And also, I really have a huge belief in be as delusional as you can possibly be in life. Like, if you're not delusional, like, you know, everybody has to have a little bit of delusion to get anywhere. I sat in a laundromat talking to the Ryans. I'd never interviewed anybody before. Like I had to be like somewhat delusional to be able to think I could do that. The thing as well is like people care a lot less about you than you think they do. And that's not like a mean thing. It's like people might look at you for a second and go, oh, that's a bit strange or whatever, but then it's out of their heads. But then you keep going and you keep going and then people sort of go, oh, it's actually really awesome what they're doing, or oh, they're cotton on a little bit, or it's really cool that they're putting themselves out there. And it's important to put yourself out there because staying inside your comfort zone, nothing exciting and big can happen within your comfort zone, I believe.
Well, Daphne, thank you so much for joining us in this interview series and wishing you all the best.
Thank you so much. And thank you for acknowledging us and recognizing us. And yeah, it means the world. So thank you.
Are you a Road Creator of the Year? Enter now at creatorawards.rode.com.